The Philosophy of Minimalism, living with less to be happier. We live in a world that constantly tells us we need more. More possessions, more achievements, more status. Advertising, social media, and even everyday conversations reinforce the idea that happiness is directly linked to the accumulation of things. But what if I told you that perhaps the key to a more fulfilling and meaningful life lies in the opposite? What if, instead of seeking more, the answer were to live with less? This is the essence of the philosophy of minimalism, a concept that goes far beyond a simple trend of organization or decoration. It is a way of thinking, living, and finding meaning in what truly matters. Minimalism is not about giving up everything you have, but about freeing yourself from the excess that distracts us from what is essential. It's about questioning what truly adds value to our lives and discarding what no longer serves us. And, interestingly, this idea is not new. It has deep roots in philosophy, particularly in Stoicism, a school of thought that emerged in ancient Greece and remains relevant to this day. The Stoics believed that true happiness does not depend on external factors, such as wealth or status, but on how we handle what is within our reach. They argued that by simplifying our lives and focusing on what truly matters, we can find lasting inner peace. Imagine, for a moment, what your life would be like if you could let go of everything that does not contribute to your happiness or growth. I'm not just talking about material objects, but also unnecessary commitments, toxic relationships, and even thoughts that paralyze us. Minimalism invites us to clean up not only our closets, but also our minds and hearts. It is a process of detachment that can be liberating, but it also requires courage. After all, we are so accustomed to accumulating that the idea of letting go can seem frightening. One of the central principles of minimalism is the idea that less is more. When we have fewer things to worry about, fewer distractions consuming us, we can focus on what truly matters. This does not mean we should live a life of deprivation, but rather one of intentionality. Every item we choose to keep in our lives should have a clear purpose, whether practical, emotional, or aesthetic. The same goes for our choices about how we spend our time and energy. By prioritizing what truly matters, we create space for what brings us joy and meaning. And here lies an interesting connection with Stoicism. The Stoics believed that many of our frustrations and unhappiness stem from our attachment to what is beyond our control. We may strive to achieve certain goals, but in the end, many things are beyond our power. Minimalism, in a way, helps us accept this reality. By letting go of excess, we learn to value what we already have and find satisfaction in the present, rather than constantly chasing more. A practical example of this can be seen in how we handle consumption. How many times have we bought something on a momentary impulse, only to realize weeks later that it brings us no real happiness? Minimalism invites us to reflect on our consumption choices and question whether they align with our values and goals. This does not mean we should never buy anything, but that we should do so consciously, choosing items that truly add value to our lives. Another important aspect of minimalism is the idea that by simplifying our lives, we can create more space for what truly matters: our relationships, our passions, and our personal growth. When we are overwhelmed with things and commitments, we often lack the time or energy to dedicate to the people and activities we love. Minimalism helps us reclaim that time and use it more meaningfully. And this brings us to a crucial point. Minimalism is not a magic formula for happiness, but a tool that helps us live more aligned with our values. It invites us to reflect on what truly matters and make decisions that reflect this understanding. It is an ongoing process that requires self-awareness and a willingness to change. But for those willing to embark on this journey, the benefits can be profound. By adopting a minimalist approach, many people report feeling a sense of freedom and clarity they did not have before. They discover that by letting go of excess, they can focus on what truly matters and find a more authentic and lasting happiness. And this is one of the greatest lessons that minimalism and Stoicism have to offer us. The idea that true happiness lies not in what we have, but in how we live. Now that we've explored the foundations of minimalism and its connection to Stoicism, let's delve deeper into how this philosophy can be applied in practice. How can we, in our daily lives, adopt a minimalist approach to find more meaning and happiness? The answer lies in small changes that, over time, can profoundly transform our lives. One of the first steps to embracing minimalism is to start questioning our needs and desires. Often, we act on autopilot, accumulating things and commitments without truly reflecting on why. Minimalism invites us to pause and think, does this truly add value to my life? This simple yet powerful question can help us make more conscious decisions aligned with our values. A practical example of this is how we handle our material possessions. Many of us have closets full of clothes we never wear, shelves cluttered with useless objects, and drawers overflowing with forgotten items. Minimalism encourages us to declutter, not out of obligation, but as a form of liberation. By letting go of what we don't need, we create physical and mental space for what truly matters. But minimalism goes beyond material objects. It also applies to our time and energy. How often do we feel overwhelmed by commitments that bring us no satisfaction? How often do we say yes when we'd like to say no? Minimalism teaches us to prioritize what truly matters and say no to what does not contribute to our happiness or growth. This can be difficult at first, especially if we're used to pleasing others, but it is an essential step toward living a more authentic life. And here lies another important lesson from Stoicism, the idea that we cannot control everything around us, but we can control how we respond to it. By adopting a minimalist approach, we learn to focus on what is within our reach and accept what we cannot change. This does not mean we should be passive or resigned, but that we should choose our battles wisely and spend our energy on what truly matters. Another important aspect of minimalism is the idea of living with intention. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. Minimalism invites us to define our values and priorities and make decisions that reflect them. This may mean choosing a job that brings us fulfillment, even if it pays less, or dedicating more time to the people we love, rather than chasing material success. And this brings us to a crucial point. Minimalism is not about giving up everything, but about choosing what truly matters. It's about finding a balance that allows us to live more lightly and meaningfully. For some, this may mean having fewer things and more experiences. For others, it may mean simplifying their routines to have more time for themselves. There is no one-size-fits-all formula, but an invitation for each of us to find what works best in our lives. An inspiring example of this is the story of many people who decided to adopt a minimalist lifestyle and discovered that by letting go of excess, they found a sense of freedom and peace they didn't have before. They report feeling more present, more connected to themselves and others, and more capable of appreciating the small things in life. And this is one of the greatest lessons that minimalism and Stoicism have to offer us. The idea that true happiness lies not in what we have, but in how we live. At the end of this journey, what remains is the understanding that minimalism is not a destination, but a path. It is a way of living that invites us to question, reflect, and choose with intention. And in doing so, we may discover that by living with less, we find more meaning, more connection, and above all, more happiness. If you like this content or theme, click like and do not forget to subscribe to the channel and also share with someone who is also in need of listening to this content.